love dialogue with you guys. Send me DMs, send me comments, send me likes. Just hit that follow button. Also, if you're not following me on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red rectangular button. And most importantly, guys, be sure to check out www.politicalstorm.com. We have a lot of great contributors, and I'm sure you'll find something that you do like. So thank you for those of you who are supporting me and you see what we're trying to do. Independent media is the way to go nowadays. So again, thank you, and please visit those websites and those channels that I just told you guys about. Today's episode, guys, wow, Candace Owens. I absolutely adore Candace Owens. Ever since she entered the scene, ever since she became vocal and she was given a spotlight and a microphone to speak, she has captivated the hearts and minds of many different types of people. And it looks like she has instigated an awakening among many African-American folk. Now, not only has she inspired an awakening, but she has given people a voice. She has given people a confidence. People who used to have to hide in the shadows and were considered the silent majority now have someone who they can rally behind, a purveyor of truth, and someone who is a proponent of independent thought, that Black people are not a monolith. Black folk are not just seen as a voting bloc. Black people have diversity of thought, and there's much diversity in that community. So Candace Owens, she testified before Congress. There was a hearing on the rise of hate crimes and white nationalism. And I don't know what the Democrats were thinking. Actually, they had nothing to do with her being there. What they had to do with was the fact that the hearing took place. It was the minorities, the Republicans, that actually invited Candace Owens. And I'm sure when the Democrats heard that, they're like, because how do you target, or how do you tackle an anomaly such as Candace Owens, who is a female, one, who is a minority, and not only a minority, but an African-American minority, two, and she is a conservative. Now, these three things mixed together cause a nightmare, and Democrats do not know how to deal with someone like this. The reason I can say that is because she was asked by one of the congressmen in the hearing, the Democrat congressman, do you hate people with brown colored skin? Do you hate Black people? They asked Candace Owens this. Now, what they tried to do, now herein lies the problem with the left wing train of thought. They have programmed themselves to label opposition as several things, such as a misogynist, such as a bigot, such as a racist, such as a white nationalist. They are programmed with those catchphrases and that rhetoric. So every time that they are faced with an argument or faced with a challenge, they automatically dispense these ridiculous characterizations that don't even make sense as a way to shut up the opposition. But like I said, when you have an anomaly such as Candace Owens, who you're really going to call Candace Owens a misogynist? You're really going to call her a white nationalist? Seriously? Like that just goes to show that the names that are tossed out by the left and are given to Republicans and conservatives, they are not based on substance. They're not based on fact. They're based on emotion and lack of logic. It's the same way President Donald Trump. It's easy to call him a racist, easy to call him a white nationalist. But when you get into the facts and when you actually critically think and you weigh, the things that he said versus the things that he's done, you see that stuff doesn't make sense. And another strategy that hasn't really worked well for the Democrats is this. What the Democrats like to do, and it works for their audience, so I mean, why would they stop, right? Well, what they like to do is they like to say, when discussing illegal immigration, they like to use the term immigration. To a critical thinker, you're able to decipher and differentiate the two. But to someone who is merely a consumer, someone who doesn't look into these things deeply, when they say Trump does not want immigration, That people believe that. But if you actually look at his policy, where he wants people who will bring merit and who will benefit the United States to bring to the country, he doesn't want just anybody and everybody. That's not to say he doesn't want immigration. He just wants the best. He wants the brightest people that will contribute to society and the American diversifying the American culture. So when you look at nationalism, for example, Democrats will say, if you're a nationalist, oh, you're a Nazi. They're not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they generalize these titles that they have, and they use them so loosely, and they conflate what these things actually mean. And it's very dishonest. It's very disingenuous. And you have to be careful about that and understand that when sorry about that, guys. Understand when you're talking about immigration, there's a difference between immigration and immigrants and illegally entering a country. There's a huge difference. So it's just keep an eye out for that and listen closely and do your research and whatnot. Moving on to the next topic, but I'll just say this: Candace Owens, amazing. Keep on doing what you're doing. You're probably never going to see this, but keep on doing what you're doing. You're my prayers. You're my thoughts, and stay strong. Your passion is inspiring. Now, actually, where's my phone? Just give me a sec, guys. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, my latest post, I said this: real Candace Owens is an example of how Democrats truly feel about black folk who aren't afraid to step out of line and promote a mentality devoid of ideological chains. The smear she receives and character assassination that she endures is not only a reality, but a symbol of the animosity the left has for free thinkers. Their rage will only increase as she speaks truth to power, as she proclaims there is another way if you so choose. The resilience Candace employs is born from conviction and unadulterated passion that cannot be shaken by intimidation or even the soothing calls of self-preservation. I've seen this fire before. She will not back down. Hashtag trailblazer. So if you guys don't follow me, be sure to do so. I have a nice video from the testimony where she utterly destroys this congressman. Moving on, guys, to this next topic. How much time do I got? Oh, we're almost done here. CBS has this show called The Good Fight. And this show has garnered so much criticism because they are unapologetically calling for political violence, and they are calling for the justification of political violence. They are supporting political violence, stating that white nationalists, people with less than ideal or less desirable ideologies deserve to be met. Their voice deserves to be met with physical violence. That is what they are saying in this show. And they are they talk so much about how Trump is inciting violence and he's inciting race or hate crimes. And then you have these guys in broad daylight. For example, let's look at Kathy Griffin. Remember that, with the decapitated head? That Broadway play where they had the male, I believe he was supposed to be playing Caesar, but he was dressed up as Trump, and then they had him killing him and stab. Like, really? And then you have these guys saying that, people with these thoughts or people who think a certain way should be met with violence. And that's not even where the end of it goes. They had a tweet where they show a snapshot of a bunch of words. It's from the same show, The Good Fight. A bunch of words, and the top three words are... I actually don't want to say it because you know how YouTube is. But I'll show the picture of it. Three words that insinuated violence towards POTUS. Now, folks... You see here now the Russian hoax, which exactly is what it was used as a way to discredit the presidency. But unfortunately for them, this couldn't go on forever. Their insinuations couldn't go on forever without being backed. And now we've come to an end where the report is out. They're going to release a redacted version of the report. But the bottom line is, regardless, is that there was no collusion. That was the basis of the investigation. Now that that is gone, they are eating crow. They have egg all over their face. And this only further enrages the left. And now you can see that only it was only so long before this rage will manifest itself into the calls for physical violence. And history is replete with scenarios where you demonize the opposition before you physically harm them. That is the first step, demonizing the opposition, dehumanizing the opposition. And that is a track that people are going down based off of passion, based off of the mentality that the ends will justify the means. No matter how evil the ends are, if the end goal is a utopia, liberal, progressive utopia, then no matter what we do to get there is justified. That is what we need to look out for. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Let's Talk Headlines series. I'm your host, Jay, and make it your goal to be objective. Have a good night.